From RedZone Weather in Bruton, Alabama, with meteorologist Spinks Meganson. A severe weather update starts right now.
Severe storms possible in the overnight hours across parts of southwest Alabama and perhaps northwest Florida. Hope you're having a nice Friday evening. We now have a tornado watch for places to our west across parts of Louisiana and southeast Mississippi. We may have a tornado watch, an additional watch, issued in the overnight hours for parts of southwest Alabama. All of the action so far today has been located across west Alabama and southern Mississippi, but in the overnight hours, we're going to begin to see some changes as this system begins coming across our local area. Let's get in there and talk about the details. First thing you need to know is that we have a tornado watch until 4 a.m. This is in place for much of southern Mississippi and north central Louisiana. At the time we're doing this live video, no county in South Alabama or northwest Florida is currently involved in the tornado watch, but just across the Mississippi line, you've got Greene County and Wayne County involved in that tornado watch, valid until 4 a.m. The tornado watch includes places like Alexandria, Louisiana. You've also got Vicksburg, Natchez, right there on the Mississippi River, Macomb, areas near Laurel, Hattiesburg, also Columbia, Quitman, Meridian, Leakesville, Waynesboro involved in this tornado watch, valid until 4 a.m. The level 2 out of 5 risk has been expanded a bit since our morning video, and we now have a big chunk of central Alabama involved in the level 2 out of 5 risk. This is the standard slight risk, which means it's not a particularly high risk night, but there could be a few tornadoes along with damaging straight line winds and potentially some large hail as well. Let's get in there and break it down. Tornado risk is probably going to maximize here across parts of west Alabama. This darker shade of brown is where we have the highest tornado risk overnight. Damaging straight line winds also going to be a concern in those same areas, looking like the large hail risk going to maximize to our west across parts of Texas and Louisiana. Still, maybe up to quarter-sized hail in the strongest of the storms. So a level 2 risk tonight, and this is not over in the morning. We have a level 2 risk on Saturday as well for much of Alabama, extending all the way down to the northern parts of Mobile, Baldwin, and Escambia counties there in the southern part of the state. So that's tonight. Greatest risk in the overnight hours is probably going to happen up here in west Alabama, specifically in Washington, Clark, and Monroe counties. There could be potentially some issues up here in Butler County, but I think that really west Alabama, where storms have been all day and where storms will continue to be over the next several hours, those are the zones that we're really going to have to watch. Tomorrow, we see the threat shift to the east, and I do expect this whole mess of a system to be out of here by the time we get to, say, tomorrow afternoon. And so here's a look at the timing on this. Unfortunately, across west Alabama, really all night, we could have potentially a few severe thunderstorms. I think further to the east, the action probably won't kick up until after 4 a.m. And so even still, you've got to have a way to your urgent weather warnings in the overnight hours. You need something to wake you up. Yes, this is a lower end risk further to the south and east for places like Mobile, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Pensacola, Milton, Jay, Century, Bruton, Andalusia, Crestview, Destin, Niceville, but it's not a zero risk. And so it only takes one tornado for it to be a big deal for you. And so have a way to hear warnings, even though the risk certainly is a bit lower further to the south and east. You may be wondering, how much rain are we going to get? They've already had upwards of 3 and 4 inches of rain across parts of West Alabama today. Back here near Thomasville and areas near Coffeyville, specifically Gilbertown, Millry, Tatlersville, Frankville, already 2 to 3 inches of rain, isolated higher amounts already, and we could have an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain in those areas, maybe even higher amounts before all is said and done. If you're closer to the coast, specifically in northwest Florida, you may not get much rain at all off this system. There is a moderate risk of flash flooding. I know the colors look similar to the convective outlook that we just talked about in terms of the tornado risk, but this is the flash flood risk. And up here in Clark and Washington counties, those are the zones that have the highest risk of flash flooding in the overnight hours. If you're in Northwest Florida, I'm not nearly as concerned about the flash flood risk in the overnight hours into Saturday. Now, this is the reason why most of you watched. Let's look at the projected radar. By midnight, most of the action still happening back here in West Alabama and Southeast Mississippi, where we have that ongoing tornado watch. And by the time we get to 6 a.m., still probably going to be in good shape across much of the local area. But storms going to start kicking off to the east by the time we get to tomorrow morning, and some of these storms may be severe across the local area, potentially producing a few tornadoes, damaging straight-line winds, maybe some small hail involved as well, and this system ultimately going to push across our region, likely exiting to our east into southeast Alabama and the Florida Panhandle by the time we get to tomorrow afternoon. So the next 12 to 16 hours could be active at times. Let's get in there and look at some of the regions. Again, this is the projected radar. We're zooming into all of our communities across the region. We'll start in West Alabama, where most of the action has happened so far today. By the time we get to 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, storms going to be coming through. 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, we could have some rowdy storms in West Alabama. The good news for our friends in West Alabama, you get done first. And once the storms move through your area tomorrow morning, we'll give you an all clear. Here's South Central Alabama, Monroe, Conecuh, Covington, Butler, Escambia counties. By 2 a.m., some showers possible, but I think the bigger action will be happening to the west. We'll advance this forward. By 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, we still may be dry. Probably going to have some showers around, but the bigger storms will be coming through probably a bit later in the morning. At 11 a.m. or so, if this model happens to be correct. We'll show you Northwest Florida. Not much action today. It actually was a beautiful day across much of Northwest Florida. Temperatures in the 70s earlier today. By 8 a.m. in the morning, we could have some showers possible. And then the bigger storms get here around, say, 11 a.m. or noon, pushing into Northwest Florida from the northwest. Maybe a few severe storms. Can't completely rule that out at this point. Mobile and Baldwin counties, maybe some showers in the hours ahead, but again, the bigger action probably going to happen after sunrise tomorrow. I can't completely rule out severe storms in Mobile and Baldwin counties before sunrise, but the overall risk is rather low. And so this whole system slowly moving right now, but it's going to be coming through our region as we get into the morning hours of Saturday. And so what that means for you, have a way to hear warnings overnight no matter where you are. You need something that can wake you up, that will be loud and proud and get your attention just in case your location goes under a tornado warning. Now, let's get in there and kind of talk about the nerd talk. This is one of the things that's driving this severe weather event. This is called the low-level jet. These are the wind speeds, not at the surface of the earth where we are, but at the 5,000 foot above your head mark. And the low-level jet really is going to probably maximize here across parts of central Alabama, from Demopolis over to Selma, Montgomery, up to Clanton. The interesting thing, though, is we sort of have a mismatch of ingredients. Better shear to the north and better instability to the south. And so when you don't have that perfect overlap, it can kind of be tough to get stronger tornadoes. That's a great thing. Hopefully we won't have any tornadoes. But in this case, there is enough of an overlap, I should say, to potentially cause a few storms. Of course, after sunrise, those instability values will start to rise due to the daytime heat content. And even in the morning at 6 a.m., when we expect kind of a minimum in terms of the instability values, they're still going to be around 1,000 joules per kilogram in parts of West Alabama. So plenty of storm fuel for these storms to work with in the overnight hours. That's why one of the reasons you got to have a way to hear urgent weather warnings before you go to sleep. Now, I've broken this chart into two zones. This says Southwest Alabama. This is primarily for West Alabama, inland areas. We're talking Washington, Clark, Monroe counties. The overall risk is at a level 2 out of 5 risk. So could there be a tornado? Absolutely. Will there be? Potentially. It's hard to say for sure, but just know the ingredients are there for potentially a few tornadoes, damaging straight-line winds. Also more concerned in West Alabama, where they've already had 2, 3, 4 inches of rain in some cases, for flash flooding. But let's change the chart and show you northwest Florida. And really this kind of applies to coastal Alabama as well, and even parts of south central Alabama. Perhaps over in Covington County, the risk is a bit lower. So a level 1 low-end severe weather risk for all of northwest Florida overnight into your Saturday. I think that storms tomorrow morning in northwest Florida specifically probably won't be as severe as what we potentially could have overnight back to the west, over in west Alabama. If you're watching RedZone Weather for the first time tonight, it's important to know what to do during a tornado warning. And the first thing you need to know is that we go live for every tornado warning across all of our 12 counties in southwest Alabama and northwest Florida. You want to get underground if you can, but you don't have to be underground to survive a tornado. If you can't get underground, do the next best thing. Get to the lowest floor of a site-built structure away from windows and doors, putting as many walls as you can between you and the outside world. You need something hard and sturdy to protect your head, like a helmet. That's for adults and for kids. And so tornado helmets certainly save lives. We've got colder air on the way as we get towards Sunday. The cold front on the way, partially responsible for all the severe weather issues today and tonight, and really into Saturday as well. Rain likely at times tomorrow, but rain clears out late in the day. All right, we're going to conclude this evening with a live view of the radar. I wanted to show you what's happening out there right now. Tornado watch for southeast Mississippi, valid until 4 a.m. Right now we've got heavy rain happening in parts of Clark, Washington, Choctaw counties over in west Alabama. Some showers are developing near Monroeville, Evergreen, Uri, back down to Atmore. Northwest Florida and coastal Alabama are in good shape. I'll have plenty of updates posted throughout the night in the RedZone Weather app. Hope you have a great Friday evening.
Be sure to find us across social media, and don't forget to download the free RedZone Weather app and set up your customized alerts. Please support our RedZone Weather sponsors who make our coverage possible every single day.